Hey guys, it's Zekin, and today we're going to be doing something very different in Planetzoo. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. Okay, so this is going to be the start of a new series in which I'm going to be kind of forgetting the zoo mechanics of the game to focus on building. I've been kind of having this idea for a while now, because more often than not, I'd find myself just like scrolling through Pinterest or just Google looking at some cool like building designs and architecture, and then I'll just think to myself, how would that really fit in a zoo? And then because it doesn't really fit in the context of a zoo, I just scrap out the idea. And that kind of limits myself as to what is actually possible in the game. And since the graphics of the game are very realistic and top notch, I just decided this will fit totally cool in this kind of setting. So yeah, so I'm not really sure if you guys might be on board with this, but I'll love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments below. And so yeah, so as you just saw, I started working on an office building, which is majorly based off of an image I came across on Pinterest of an office building, which according to its page on Arc Daily, and by the way, if you don't know what Arc Daily is, it's like a daily newsletter website for architectural buildings and designs. So it's located somewhere in Iran and it's designed by a firm called Dot Architects. So my idea for this is an architecture / design firm building. At first I wanted it to be accessible to like the guests and staff in the game, but after experimenting a bit, I saw that the scale of which the game does didn't really work out, so I just scrapped that idea. And then I just focused on just building in general without having any constraints of the game. So as you just saw, I started working on the stairs, like this really nice stairs which wind your way up to the last floor. So I used one of Moblung's elevator blueprints, which I'll leave the link below if you guys want to check it out. So next up, I started working on the tiling work for the interior walls for the ground floor. So I used the metal plates which are in the structural section of the game. In the reference, they actually have this kind of tiling work on the walls of like the first floor, but they use the first floor as like the garage. But for this case, I'm gonna be using it as like a lobby reception kind of thing. So I kept it really simple and nice. So if you're thinking of maybe implementing tiles, you should totally go for the structural plates in the game. They work really well. So yeah. So a while back in Planet Coaster, I actually made something similar to what I'm doing right now, which I built a kind of architectural house which is kind of somewhere in the woods and something, and so I named it Pondosora. So I'll leave a link to it in the description and it should pop up right now at the top right corner of your screen, so you can go check it out. A little disclaimer, that video was made a while back, so the audio quality and the editing of the video was a bit off, so just to warn you guys. After that, I started working on the main facade of the building, which actually starts from the first floor. It has a cool like interlocking design going on, which is actually what caught my eye when I was scrolling through Pinterest. It implements plants into its design, which kind of gives it this kind of eco-friendly kind of green look to it, and just thought it looked pretty cool, so yeah. Okay, so this whole building is made up of a bunch of plaster pieces, and by now we can all agree that the plaster pieces are like one of the most useful pieces we have in the game, because they're just so versatile and they're really flexible to use for virtually anything at all. They're like the concrete pieces I think we got in Planet Coaster, which were also similar to what we have here. So I use most of that to form the building, which is like the main walls. And so yeah, the layout of the building is pretty much the same for all floors. So I duplicated the elevator to the second floor because basically it's going to be the same location throughout the building, and so it isn't really going to change. So from the reference, I can see that it has a little kind of courtyard, which they have a wall of plants like maybe herbs or different plants and stuff. So in a minute, you'll see me using the flower bedding to make them as best as I can in the game. While building this, it made me remember how awesome the graphics of the game are. All the lighting and textures are just phenomenal. So with this series, I'm mostly going to be focusing on architecture, buildings, and scenery. I'll have to mostly avoid the zoo mechanics of the game just so I can have enough freedom without having to worry about guests or animals. But I may build a functional building or two sometime. I think this would be my kind of way of sort of overcoming creative blocks, because I'm usually limited to building in the 4 walls of a zoo. So with this, hopefully I'm able to come up with way more ideas than before. So yeah. Since all the floors were pretty much identical, I just made copies of them while making some little tweaks at each level to result in this repeating pattern. Now I actually started working on the courtyard I was talking about. I used the gutter pieces to make the little hanging pots and then the flower bed piece to imitate the look of the green plants. This courtyard adds a whole nother level of a welcoming feeling in the office, cause in my head offices are usually kind of boring and kind of lack that liveliness, so it helps boost the feeling of comfort and liveliness. So yeah, to make the plants look realistic, I vary the colors. So as you transition from the top to the base of the courtyard, you'll see the colors getting more faded. This is to mimic how if plants don't get too much sunlight, they decolorize. At each floor it has a platform so people can tend to the plants. So I wasn't able to record the interior build because NVIDIA kept messing up, so I'll show more of that in the live portion, which, by the way, if you want to skip over, you can check the description below for the timestamp. Then I started working on different designs for potted plants, which I would use throughout this whole build. This build definitely gave me a little bit of a challenge in terms of building at a really small scale while still trying to keep it looking as realistic as possible. So I was eventually happy with the outcomes. At first I went through a lot of different iterations, which I obviously cut out of the video, but after some time I was really satisfied with the end result. So yeah, so I made these plants as well as a bunch of other office furniture which I released to the workshop, so I'll leave a link below in the description so you guys can go check it out. So yeah, so now we're nearing the end of the time lapse. I'll catch you guys in the live portion of the video, which will be coming up in just a second. Okay, welcome to the live portion of the video. I'm gonna be doing a look around at everything I did, so let's get on with it. So as we head on approaching into the front portion, you can see we have this black kind of wooden slanted kind of facade over here. So just put it together and just thought it came out pretty well. So yeah, so now we're in the reception. So you can see we have the office sofas, which I made out of a bunch of switches, and then some of the potted plants, and then we have a center table, and then TV console, and then TV, and then to the left we have this reception desk over here with these hanging lights, and then we have this office chairs with these office computers, which I got from the workshop, by the way. I'll leave a link to them in the description below if you guys want to check it out. So yeah, so as we head on down, we'll see we have Moblung's awesome elevators, as well as his elevator sign over here that in case of fire use stairs. So in the front you guys can see we have this kind of perspective drawing architecture building thing, which I don't know if it kind of sends the right, like if it looks right. So just put it together with a bunch of brackets, so thought it came out pretty well. So yeah, to the left we have this stairs over here that will lead us to the rest of the floors. So let's head up. So now we're on the first floor. So this is kind of like the whole layout of kind of the rest of the building, but we'll get into other stuff later. So as we head on here first, to our right we'll see we have the courtyard I was talking about with all the plants and everything, and then to the left, if we head on in through this door, you'll see I made a little toilet over here. So I used a bunch of switches and art shapes and just thought it came out pretty well with the toilet, like tissue paper, and then we have the sink, and then I turned an umbrella upside down to make the tap look like that, and then one of Moblung's stuff over here, which is the Purell soap dispensers. Thought it came out pretty well. So yeah, so once we head on out here, you'd see we have the main kind of layout of the place. So I made a bunch of these office cubicles with the chairs and everything, and the computer which I got from the workshop, which I'll leave links to in the description below. So you'll see if we turn ourselves over here, we can see a kind of like a wall art, like an inspirational wall art kind of thing, which we have the light bulb, and just to spice up the place and make it look pretty well. So we have over here Iben's water coolers, which are awesome. and it kind of gives this place more of a realistic look, because in my mind, when you think of office, you think of desks, chairs, and then water dispensers or coolers. So if you don't know who Ivan is, he is a really awesome creator right now. He's making awesome stuff, and he just recently made a bunch of crazy stuff for Koala Zoo, and so I'll leave links to his channel in the description below so you guys can go check him out. So yeah, so if we turn ourselves over here and go straight down, you'll see I made these printers, like slash photocopiers, out of a bunch of switches, so adds to the main realism, because since this is a kind of like a design slash architecture firm, they have printers everywhere because they're constantly working. So yeah, so we have drawers over there, and then in the ceiling we have some smoke detectors which are from Moblung, and then I made these air conditioning vents over here out of a bunch of brackets and like a structural piece, I think. So if we head on into this room over here, we'd see we have the conference room. So we have the chairs and the desk, and then the drawers, and then we have another smoke detector over here. And then if we look up here, we'll see we have a little it's meant to represent a projector and a projecting board. So yeah, let's head back out. And since this pretty much is the layout for the all the floors, I'll not really be doing that much of like a in-depth view at each floor. Oh, and I almost forgot, we have this little kind of kitchen kind of thing over here. So this, I'd imagine, would be kind of like the break room where they go make their coffee and maybe warm up some food. And so yeah, so let's head on to the next floor. So you can see the next floor over here is a pretty similar layout to the previous one. So instead of create, we have think over here, because my idea for this whole building is that the different floors represent like the different arms of the company. So maybe like the management section, and then the design team, and then just the strategy team, and then yeah, just kind of inspire them to do more, I think. So we have more of Ivan stuff, and I wouldn't really be going in depth into this place because it's pretty much the same layout as the other one. So let's head on to the next floor. So now we are on the third floor, and we have this kind of blue area in which we have more of a cubicle and stuff. And then for this floor we have focus, because I'd imagine maybe this would be like the planning floor, planning team for stuff. So really happy with how it came out. So yeah, so on the next floor we have this kind of management area. So it has a pretty different layout and everything, so let's get on with it. So if we head on here, you'd see we have a bunch like a stairs leading to something which we'll get into in a minute. And then to the right we also have like a little kitchenette over here, and then we have more of these sofas, and then a little chair, and then a carpet or something which I made. And then we have more of the plants, and then drawers, and then more of Ivan's water coolers and the printers. So the main thing about this floor is this over here. This, I'm really proud of how this came out. So this I usually see a bunch of like inspirational walls online. So we have think, create, innovate. So that's pretty much what design slash architectural firms do. So yeah, so if you kind of look closely, you'd see I putting names of some art shape legends which contributed really greatly to this whole build over here. So we have Ricey and Moblung. So I use most of Ricey's fonts, and then you can see we have some Ricey fonts over here, and then Moblung's fonts as well. So, and also his stuff are pretty awesome. So yeah, so you can see the layout of this floor is pretty different from the rest we've been seeing. And so I'd imagine this is like the management area, like the managers of maybe the different floors or something. So yeah, so let's head ourselves to this area over here. So if you look up, you'll see we have a really nice skylight over here. So when the sun pours down, they would have a light over here. So really happy with that detail. So essentially we have the boss's office over here, and so this would be like the office for like the main boss. And so we have a conference table and a bunch of sofas, and then we have this executive desk with its executive chair, and then thought it came out pretty well. So I put one printer at the back over there, and then put a aloe vera plant. We also have a TV because yeah, this is the boss. And so we have the remote, and then it's surrounded by a bunch of drawers for like keeping important documents and stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the main layout of this floor. So let me head on into this area over here. So you can see the boss also has a bunch of stairs because this is kind of acting as the emergency stairs so as well. So yeah, so on the roof you can see we have a bunch of air vents, and then like the main control vents for the elevator, and then some skylights, and then that's pretty much the layout of the whole building. And so yeah, I'll be leaving links in the description for the blueprints to this whole thing, so you guys can go check it out and explore for yourselves. So I think that's pretty much it for this video, guys. If you like the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're not. When you subscribe, be sure to turn on that notification bell so you get notified whenever I post anything new. And I'll also be leaving links to my socials in the description below, so you guys can go check it out. So yeah, see you later, guys, and until then, bye for now. Be sure to stay tuned for the cinematics, which will be coming up soon.